Désolé anglais!
Désolé anglais. How are you, mate?
Alright, Keys, how are you?
Yeah, smashing,
Good
mate.
to see you, mate.
Great to
Good
see you, mate. All the best, mate.
Alright, pal.
Yeah, it's been a couple
Cool.
of years, mate.
Look at that place.
Yeah.
Look at that place, eh?
It's epic, innit?
What an epic lake.
Yeah.
Have you seen any fish yet?
No, mate. I have tried, mate, but it's been a struggle, if I'm honest.
Has it?
Yeah. Wind has been blowing massively, mate, yeah.
Has it?
Yeah.
Cool, looks like I can hear it down there, mate.
Yeah, mate, we're sheltered here, but I was in the main bay.
Yeah.
Which you can't see, it's round that corner.
Yeah.
And I managed to get 3 rods out last night, but I just felt I wasn't fishing at all, mate. So yeah, so I packed up, mate.
Yeah.
That was epic, packing up in this. And,
It sounded when you said 3 hours.
Yeah, it
so
was.
I thought 3 hours of packing up.
Yeah,
That's some work, that is.
Yeah, I was just getting all my gear back to my van.
Yeah.
Because it was too windy to bolt my gear round, so I just had to carry it all and barrow it round. That's why it took some time. I'm going to pack down now anyways, mate, so...
Oh yeah, you're glad.
Start fresh, mate.
Let's have a little walk round, mate. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Yeah. I reckon this is the spot, mate. We can get 2 bivvies in here, can't we?
Yeah.
It's comfortable. Right, decided what we're going to do then, and we are going to basically carry the gear right down these rocks and then boat across to that little point over there. So just got here, it's 1 o'clock and it looks absolutely magnificent. It does, the lake, it looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to get fishing. But we've got white caps at the moment, so it is a little bit windy. Jim's been blown off one of the swims around the corner when he fished last night, but he's come around to this area and it's a little bit milder, he says, but there's still white caps on the lake, so it's going to be interesting getting across there, because the area that we want to fish is directly opposite where the car is at the moment. It's almost just to the right of where the dam wall is, so we've got to take the gear down this embankment and unload it, and it'd be a lot easier if we could just go across the dam wall, but it's out of bounds unfortunately. But the gate is up at the minute and there's a guy doing some repairs to the dam. We've just been tempted about taking his lock off and and getting over there tonight, but obviously that's not the done thing. That's the sort of thing you did when you was younger, about 30 years ago, but now we're old men, it's going to be done the proper way. So I'll see you on the other side. Probably going to take us a couple of hours at least to get things ready. Here's Jim doing the battery carry. I remember you doing that at the Orient a few years ago.
Yeah, I'm old now though, mate.
There's a good old trek along here. As you can see, this is about the halfway point, and it's up there, the car, so let's get cracking on. Well, we've finally got all the gear around to the boat launch. Probably taking us about 2 hours, but you can just see how much gear we've got for a trip like this. There's still Jim's boat fetching him in it as well, so a lot of gear, hell of a lot of gear, and we've still got gear in the car as well. So yeah, got to pump the boats up now and then get everything loaded into the boat. No way we're going to be fishing tonight, well certainly I'm not anyway, and then take it across the lake to where we're fishing over there. So let's get cracking. Still loads to do.
Wild one crowbar that.
It's nice and sheltered over here, but over there is some bad white caps. You can see the white caps spraying in the distance. That's where we've come from over there. So poor old dog was panicking a bit, weren't you, darling? But we're here, so let's get set up. So here's a look at my base camp then. Jim's got a much better area to set up on, and it's actually set up on a bit of a step. You can just see around the back here. I've done well to get a pretty sturdy bivvy out of that. And that's a HQ dual layer brolly system, because you're only allowed brollies on here. And that is home for the next 2 weeks. Definitely not the tidiest. I've just got everything just rammed in there, but I've got enough food, bait and water for the duration of the trip. And looking at the forecast, it's not going to be too bad. It's definitely not going to be too wet, so I should be all right in there. But it is definitely roughing it conditions. That's what's always the case on these big waters. You've got to be a bit hardy, a bit durable, and also a bit crazy. What are you saying, Bobo? Saying I'm a bit crazy? That's not a bad scene to wake up to. This is my first morning on the lake. I didn't get to put the rods out last night. I started setting them up, but I just got so tired I had to go to bed and crash out. It's a little bit rough at the minute out there. But not too rough for going out in the boat. It's more the echo sounding side of things, because when you're going up and down in the boat you don't find the proper spots. But I've got the pod set up and I've cleared a few stones as well, a bit of a pathway down to where the rods are, because there's a lot of those about. And basically this morning all I've got to do is really just get myself in order, because there's gear all over the place, there's stuff to be set up, there's things to be sorted, rigs to tie. So although I've been going now for 48 hours since I set off from the house, I'm not going to get my rods out probably till this afternoon. So, you know, the first 2 or 3 days of the session is, or the trip I should say, is sort of a setup type of thing really. And nice strong wind blowing for the next couple of days as well, so it definitely looks good for some carp being around here. You know, I'm a little bit groggy at the minute because of just all the driving and the tiredness, but really excited to be here. Still got lots of time to get things ready. So Jimbo, here we are then, mate. We're in the swim.
Yeah, we're on the mighty Salagou.
We're on the mighty Salagou, mate. Yeah. Now, not pointing the finger at you, but we're kind of in this swim because you've recommended it. You came to the lake a couple of weeks ago. You had a good old walk round, didn't you?
Yeah. It took 2 days to walk around it fully with the missus. Did a proper recce.
Yeah.
But it was certainly worthwhile taking that time to walk the lake. You learn an awful lot.
Yeah. Okay. So why have you chose this swim then? I mean, to me, I think I know what you're going to say, because it just stands out to me. So just tell us a little bit about this area that we are.
Well, we're at the dam end of the lake, so it's the end of the lake. And if you're used to fishing these big reservoirs in the winter time, when they drain them down, the fish are just naturally attracted to the draw. They tend to follow the water.
Yeah.
So and the dam ends are always tend to be the deepest part of the lake. And you think, are the fish migrating to the deeper water in the winter time?
Yeah, the water's down, isn't it? So
yeah,
definitely makes sense.
Yeah, the water's flowing out the dam, so there's a heavy flow. Yeah. So the fish are inquisitive, carp are inquisitive. So if there's a water flow, they're going to follow it and see what's knocking about.
Yeah.
So that's attracting me to this swim. Another reason, it's probably the hardest swim to get to on the lake. It's from the boat ramp. There's a couple of boat ramps on Salagou. It's the longest boat ride to get to this particular swim.
Yeah.
So it puts people off. So it's at the moment it's underfished.
You can't drive behind this swim, can you?
It never used to be that. You used to be able to drive around here, but they've blockade roads now. You get that on a lot of lakes now with the on-site, like people living in camper vans and van life being more popular. They're sort of like trying to put a stop to people living in vans by lakes.
Yeah.
So a lot of these little side roads are a lot blocked off now with big concrete boulders.
Yeah.
So it's making it more difficult.
Yeah, well, the water's clearly down. We've also got that no fishing area to the left, and those buoys that's behind us, the yellow buoys, that's marking an area that you're not allowed to be in. So obviously, even on a big lake like this, they recognise safety areas, don't they, Carp?
100%, mate, they do, yeah.
And the other good thing about this swim as well, mate, it's got a massive scope of water, hasn't it? You know, I'm round to the right, or behind the camera, and I've got a little island to the right of me there, which has got a bit of a spit running off it. and it gives me the opportunity to put rods at various depths, and I love fishing at various depths on these kind of lakes, because we have got water down to sort of 80 foot in places in front of us, and in that kind of depth of water the carp could be only at one particular zone, and you've got to find out where they are. So, you know, at the moment it's pretty warm, so there's a good chance there could be a few fish pretty close in, 15, 20 feet down. And certainly that's where a lot of the features are, isn't it, Jim, at the moment? There's a lot of weed down there, isn't there?
Yeah, the crayfish are still, it's not mega cold yet, so the crayfish are still active, so I'm pretty sure those carp will be searching out the crayfish still. And most of the time the crayfish are in the rocks, that's shallower water, so even in the depths of winter you can't ignore the shallow water.
I know when I fished on Cassian we've caught carp in really shallow water, only about a metre of depth, and you'd think in the winter time that your carp would go deep, but on these big reservoirs in France, like your Salagous, your Shanties, places like that, well, not Shanties so much, your Cassian I should say, it's the opposite. It tends to be that they go shallower in the winter, and then when it's red hot they go deeper into the colder water. So it's nice and sunny at the moment. It makes sense that they're coming in close, and you know, we've had some really strong wind on this lake, and it is to me it sort of, maybe that might push them a little bit deeper, that wind, but I think they do want to be in the shallower water though.
Yeah, but the beauty of this swim is that we've got options. We can cover up, we can cover shallow, deep, where half of this lake is relatively shallow, so it's sort of like the only option you got if you fish those swims is relatively shallow, so you sort of like almost discount half the lake straight away. So
what sort of depths are you fishing to at the moment then, mate? You've got 3 rods out for the carp, and you've got a pike rod out, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a pike rod out, and so my shallowest spot I'm fishing is 19 foot. That's just at the edge of the weed. So I've got weed to 19 foot, so I've put a rod just right on the weed, and I've got them all the way staggered up to 40 foot, 44. But what was interesting, that the rod which has been crayed the most was one at 44 foot, which took me by surprise a bit, but that's these lakes.
It's just a case of biding your time on these lakes. You don't rock up to these venues and start catching them straight away unless you're really lucky. It's a waiting game, certainly this time of the year, and it generally tends to be slow but better fish this time of the year.
And we've learned from years and years and years of fishing these lakes, if you start chasing your tail, and like if you start moving swims every 2 days because you've caught nothing, you're just going to end up wasting your time really. Best option is pick the right swim in the first place, and then work at it.
Sit there, work the swim every day. You go out there in the boat, you're finding different spots, different areas, and that in itself is quite revealing, isn't it? Try a day with a rod in that spot. And you know, those little features that you find. I know when I used to fish with Briggsy on Cassian and places like that, you chance a rod down the margins really shallow for 24 hours, and then you'd have a bite on it, so you put all the other rods in the similar sort of area, and that's basically what you're doing here, isn't it? Is you're fishing a few hours or a few days in a spot and trying to find out what the carp are doing. And I'm fairly sure that certainly this time of year, and there's not too many carp hangers on the lake at the moment, it's relatively quiet, that there's going to be pockets of fish moving all over the place because it is warm, and you know, the carp have definitely not stopped moving around. It might be winter, but they've definitely not stopped, have they?
No.
So it wouldn't surprise me if we get a few quiet days and then maybe a few days where the fish come through and we get a bit of action. So we've got all to play for. We've got plenty of days ahead of us. That's a little bit of an insight into the swim, and you know, it certainly looks good out there.
What's happened, bro?
Well, what happened? It's a bit of a story really, mate, because yesterday the wind was that bad I could only partially get my gear over, so took an opportunity today. I got my rods out last night, so I said to Crowe, I said I'm just going to nip back to my van, get the rest of my gear, and lo and behold, one of my rod zips off because I was going to get the rest of my gear. That's carp fishing for you. All the effort I put in to get here, and the first pick up, and I don't land it myself. But
Crowe's got no rods out, but he's got a carp on there.
Yeah.
In the net.
But
even though it's not mine. It don't count for me, that doesn't. If you want to claim fish like that, then Obviously that's your own choice, but it's not the way that I do it, it's not the way Jim does it, so we're just going to have a joint picture. So that's a lovely setup of gear you've got there, look at it. Is that one of the Chinese rod pods and setups?
Mate, there are Chinese rod pods, mate.
Let's have a look at this lovely fish anyway and get it weighed. But what a great start there, mate. On a positive point, we've got carp in front of us. I ain't got any rods out yet. You've got yours out because you've been here a night longer than me, so
yeah.
We've got fish in front of us. We've got 2 weeks ahead of us, mate. There's going to be more, isn't there?
Oh, best happy, mate. I'm going to do a lot of crying, mate, that's for sure.
Right, let's get him out there.
Well, yeah, here we are. It's a bit unfortunate, but it's nobody's fish really. It's caught on my rod. Crowley landed it because I was out getting more gear from the van, but that's carp fishing for you. We've both been around long enough to know these things happen sometimes. But it's a beautiful fish. It's just over 48 £, and it's a Salagou mirror. It's still a bit lively. As soon as the eyes see that's so does it like? There we go, mate.
That's carp fishing, as they say.
It is, mate. It's a magnificent fish, but hey oh.
First day.
I would have.
I've not even got any rods out at the moment, so
This carp would have made my trip, this, but who knows what's in store for us.
mate, there's got to be more. First day, we've got this one.
Well, you like to think so, mate. But cheers, Si.
Right, dude.
Thanks for looking after my rods, anyways, mate.
Right, mate.
So.
Look at the state of my boat. If I get a bite now, there's absolutely no way I can go out because it is just full of water. And it's not rained, that is just splash off the wind. So something I'm having to do every couple of hours is just get the old pan and get rid of the water. So let's get cracking. I'll end up shorting that battery if I let it fill up any more. Always something to do on a lake like this.
Jimbo, we're on film, mate.
Crowbar.
Are we on? Are we on? Are we on? Right.
Sun's in my eyes there.
Yeah. Proper grueling few days. Wind absolutely beating the shit out of us. Not to the point that we can't row out in it, but to the point that you cannot fish effectively in it, because to find your spots in these sort of conditions, it's just very hard. So, what are we now, 3 days in?
Yeah,
3 days in, yeah.
3 days in and almost 3 days of no fishing.
Yeah.
It's been wild, that's what it, mate. Wild, but
Yeah. You're sitting there, aren't you, mate, with thinking, are my baits all right? Have they been moved?
Yeah.
Your lines are all over the place. Your indicators are all over the place. I've got my Fox alarms set really low on the sensitivity, so I'm getting no bleeps and nothing whatsoever. And It's died down a little bit today, so I thought I'd go and redo my rods, and I've only gone and had a pickup during some stow. A little bird there fighting, little green thing, I don't know what it is, beautiful little sound. But got over to the rod and it's in the weed. A little common's come up. I've not got a landing net with me because I thought the rod was snagged, so yeah, lost chance. But the positive of this is the carp are on the munch and we've got spots going in these conditions, so we've got a long way to go, mate, haven't we?
We have, mate. Yeah,
another
yeah.
trip.
Yeah, another 8 days, 9 days we've got. So,
you know, brutal conditions, proper hard work. Definitely different to pay lake fishing.
yeah, just a bit. But yeah, it's brutal, it's wild, but you know what? It's great fun as well.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding. It's just something magical about being here when it's like this.
Yeah.
It's like the tougher the conditions, the rougher the weather, the more I seem to enjoy it. It's like just brings the best out of you, really, I think.
I've got to say though, mate, I want my rods out. I want to be fishing while I'm here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I felt like I'm not fishing.
Yeah.
But there's clearly fish around here. You know, all sorts of things have gone through our mind, haven't we? Maybe they've gone too deep. They've gone down to a 40-foot depth. They wouldn't be in the margins in these kind of conditions. You had a bite at 20 foot. I had a catfish at 15 foot. And now I've had a carp bite at 15 foot as well. So even in these conditions, they're getting in really close. Well, you've seen a carp as well, you think, close in here as well, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. And
about sort of 10 foot.
Yeah, and it's not a warm wind either, so I don't think the fish will be moving on the wind because it's a cold wind, and but they're here, so we've got to make them, when the weather dies down, we've got to make the most of it, and hopefully we'll get a few more chances.
Well, I've just spent about an hour putting my rods out, so I'm happy now. But it's you know, it's we've still got another day or so of this brutal wind, and then hopefully it might calm down a bit.
Yeah, but it's not just the wind. We like using 12-ounce leads, but they're still moving. But it's the weed, it's the floating weed. The wind moves the weed and it grabs hold of your line, and the drag on the weed. That you end up, you could have 15 ounces of lead and it still moves. So
yeah, well, the weed's dragging the line down, isn't it? Yeah. And then low down in the margins here, you can see there's loads of rocks, and the line's going over the rocks. You get a bite that really pulls. Yeah. It could easily cut off on these rocks. So you know, it is very, very, very different to pay lake fishing, which is one of Jim's favourite topics. Because they don't count if you catch them from pay lakes. That's what he says.
No, I never said that, mate. They count to whoever. If it's your bag and you enjoy it, then whatever counts to you. But for me, I just I get off not more the size of the fish, but the challenge. The bigger the challenge, the more I like it. So
he loves pay lake fishing. He does, because I tell you what, the other day he said, these guys who catch fish on other people's rods and then claim them, when he's gone, he's had that bite and I've landed it. First thing he wanted to do is hold it. So you do change your opinions on things. You do change your opinions on things. Which is carp fishing. We're all entitled to different opinions, and I've changed so much as a carp angler over the course of my career, and I know you have as well, haven't you?
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I fish pay lakes loads. When you were like going through your carp fishing career, almost, you can't call it a career, but your hobby. But you sort of like, you want to progress. You want to keep challenging yourself, and then at the end, the pay lake, you sort of like you reach your limit. I spent about 6-7 years on Rainbow Lake, caught a lot of big fish, but in the end I was sat there thinking I want to be somewhere else, I want to challenge myself, and this is the next step. These big wild lakes, big rivers, this is what it's about for me really now.
It is, I hate to say this word, but it is proper fishing. It is. This is proper hardcore fishing. It's not for the faint-hearted. If you want to shower every day and do your hair and have a shave and sit there watching TV plugged into your little electric fan, then you know it ain't for you. But I do all types of fishing. That's just the way I am. I love fishing for 10-pounders, 15, 20-pounders. And I tell you what, that fish I've just lost was about 20 pounds, but I'd love to have got it in. I really would. But we've got plenty of the trip left, mate. And I am really positive now. Yeah, very positive. So, yep, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, let's hope so, mate.
Can you hear that outside? That is the wind. It is absolutely relentless. 50 mile an hour gusts today. It is going crazy out there. Already wiped out one of my rods, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep. The dog's scared because of the noise from the wind. It's like a real booming sound as it comes down the valley and into this area, because we're near the dam end, and it's a little bit sort of sheltered towards the dam end because it's really built up. It's got like a bit of a rock face and some trees. So when the wind's coming into the valley in here, you can hear this big old boom, and you know, the waves that are coming down by the rods is just crazy. Just been down now to clear the rod, to clear the boat out. But you know, these are really good big fish conditions on a water like this, because it is blowing a proper hoolie and there's almost certainly fish in front of us. It's just a case of sitting and waiting and just being patient on these kind of waters. And obviously losing that fish today, my confidence now is through the roof. You know, there's big fish in this lake without a shadow of a doubt, and there's fish in front of us, so I've no idea what the rest of the trip holds. So you know, that's a really exciting thing about this lake, because I don't even know what the biggest fish is in here. I don't know any of the names of the fish. It's completely different to fishing in England, where it gets a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? It gets a little bit stale, really, fishing in England. Same old fish, different angler, and in some cases, when you go on social media, same old fish, same angler, just catching the same fish over and over again. And you know, I don't know what people want from their fishing. You know, everybody wants something different, and we've talked about that before earlier in the film. But me myself, I like this wilderness. I like the adventure. I like the not knowing what's out there, and I also like the battle against the elements, because it really is a battle of the elements out there at the moment. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get any sleep tonight, but I'm certainly going to try my hardest, and if it is a little bit cold, at least I've got the dog to keep me warm. Well, it's been very hard work, let's just say that, with the wind. Conditions have been definitely against us, and if you keep on going, keep on putting the effort in, every now and again things go your way. So there you go, 39.5 pounds. First Salagou carp for myself, so I am absolutely buzzing, because if a session is summed up by the word graft, it is definitely this one. What are you saying, Jimbo?
Yeah, well, we both love grafting, mate. All our trips end up grafting.
We do, but we always seem to do all right in the end, mate.
Yeah.
So proper made up with that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to catch a fish, and yesterday losing that carp, having seen it was only little. It was only a 20 pounder, but obviously I ain't really bothered about weight. It's not an issue for me nowadays. But that is what I came for, a Salagou carp. So if I don't catch anything else, I'm happy.
Sorry, mate, it looks a magnificent fish, mate, as well. That sun glistening on it, beautiful.
Cheers, dude.
It is, mate, it's lovely.
Let's do some pictures then, eh?
Yeah.
It's okay, Jimbo, stop taking the piss out of me. Lights, camera, action. I've had to come around into Jim's swim to do this, because mine is a proper man's swim. It's blowing a hoolie where I am. Jim's swim is out the wind, nice and easy, lovely little spot, sunbathing in a t-shirt, whatever. But what I'm going to do now is talk you through the rig that I'm using, because you can probably tell that fishing on a lake like this, you're fishing over all sorts of obstructions. There's a lot of boulders out there, a lot of rocks, a lot of shells, a lot of sharp objects that can obviously cut most traditional carp fishing setups. So I'm really beefed up today. I'm basically fishing with braid straight through to a 70 pound mono leader. This is Avid's Camel Outline snag leader. It is really, really brutal stuff, very, very strong, absolutely perfect for fishing on the continent on lakes like this. Got lead clip on there, nice heavy weight there, that's an 8-ounce lead. And then I've got a hook link which is about 18 inches long, which is quite long, but obviously when you're dropping from a boat and you're dropping over the kind of terrain that we've got in front of us now, then short hook links, there's a chance it's going to get lost and buried underneath some of the rocks and stuff, the hook bait. So yes, the carp will search items out, that's what they're looking for in these rock beds, but at the end of the day, the longer the hook link is, the more chance that hook bait's going to be sitting in an area where it's likely to be found. So I've got a size 1 snag hook on there, nice and strong. I've got a liner, and then for the hook bait I'm just using a Snowman setup. That is a bug hard hooker. I'm also using some S7 and I'm also using some SLK as well, and to top it off I've just got a PB pop up on the top. So it's basically fishing critically balanced on top of the lake bed. It's that time of the year when the fish aren't really feeding heavily. It might be warm in the sunlight at the moment, but the water temperature is very cold. It's down to about 7 degrees. So that's not the time of year to be putting a great deal of bait in. All I'm doing is fishing with a few handfuls of free offerings around each rod and hoping that something comes along. So there you go. It's nice and tough, nice and smelly, nice and visual, and hopefully it'll catch me a few more fish. As is normally the case on these big French reservoirs, at this time of the year the water level's down. It's probably 4 or 5 metres down at the moment. You can see normally it's back in the trees. You can see where people have been setting up the base camps. But what you've got is these really exposed rocks littering the margins, and all around these rocks there's loads of food items. You can see there's literally millions upon millions of open shells, mussels, dead crayfish, bits of weed, bits of stems. It's no wonder the carp in this water are as big as they are. They go to about 77, 78 pounds, but there's quite a lot of 30 kilo fish in here now. And just taking the echo sounder out on the boat, what you've got is a lot of weed from literally just in front of you right down to about 19 foot, and amongst all that weed there's going to be loads of food. So that's the kind of area that we're concentrating on. You can see here at the moment there's a lot of strands of weed that's been washed in the over the last few days when it was really windy. It has calmed down a bit now, the wind has, but for the last few days we've had so much of this weed coming in, it's been wiping out the lines. And what I've had to do is get, instead of using 12-ounce leads, I've had to use some of these rocks off the bank and just loop a bit of line around them and then attach them to my lead clips just to hold bottom. But it's been pretty tough fishing, and it's not just tough when it comes to the conditions on the lake. You can see here with all these food items, it's tough with regards to competing with that kind of natural food because there's literally loads of it, and this lake is known for being pretty tough. It's not like some of the other big open reservoirs that are a little bit more easier. There's a few more carp in there, but what this lake has got now though is a lot of big fish. It's doing a lot of 30 kilo carp, which makes it very, very attractive. So I can definitely see myself coming back here again after this trip. Besides the natural food that you get on the lake, on the banks, what you've also got here is a tomato plant. Look at that. That one down there was obviously ripe at some stage, but something's munched away at it. But that is definitely a first for me. I've never seen a tomato plant on the banks of a lake. There you go. So if you run out of food, you don't need to go to the shops. It is a bit slow at the moment, so big water carping at this time of the year. Slow, but hopefully decent fish. You know, we've had 2 carp so far, 48, 49 and a 39. Lost one as well, which wasn't a big fish, but it's been slow going. But we've still got a few days left, so definitely not giving up hope. And the one thing I can say about these kind of waters is you need the proper frame of mind to fish them, because Not only is it tough with regards to the conditions, you can see behind me all the stones, walking over these, your ankle's always going over. And I remember many years ago, Briggsy being on Cassian fishing, I think he was in the North Arm with Joan, and Joan broke a leg at Cassian one year and she carried on fishing. That's how tough you need to be to fish these kind of lakes. She broke a leg falling over one of these stones, or a similar stone to this, and she stayed on the bank for about 2 weeks, didn't realise that she'd broken a leg. And you know, I've been on Cassian before now, when I've seen all 4 seasons in one day as well, with snow, sleet, hail, then sunshine. I'm not going to get that this week, but it's definitely a test on the old strength of mind, because you keep thinking, do I need to redo the rods, do I need to freshen up the swim, do I need to put more bait out? And especially when it's very windy, you're sitting there thinking all the time, do I need to do something, because not a great deal's happening. But when you're really in, you're seeing your rods are okay, the baits are fine, not too much damage from the crayfish, so you just got to leave them out there. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm just leaving the rods out there. I put them out, well, I put 3 of them out yesterday and they all went down okay, and happy with the spots. One of them, that's been out 2 nights now, but I'll leave it until later on, I think, that one. So just having that strong frame of mind. Experience helps when you fish these waters. You know that after a couple of 3 days, sometimes you get just bites out the blue, and that's what we're really waiting for, is you know, just a bit of action. And I'm still pretty confident that something could happen as well. So there you go. That is today's update. Good evening, mate, yeah?
Brilliant, mate.
Atmospheric?
It's very atmospheric, mate, yeah. Perfect. Oh.
You reckon there's a good chance of a bite tonight?
Well, I think so, mate. We've got the first break in the weather, haven't we? So, yeah. Yeah, I reckon if they're about, we'll hear them tonight. It's nice and calm.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've heard a few cranes as well a few moments ago.
Yeah, mate. They're probably on the way down from the Orient, mate.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
rest at the Orient and Shantycock, and then they come down here, and then they head down towards southern Spain.
So you're a Shantycock man, not a Shantyco man.
I could say something really rude now, mate.
Everybody pronounces that word so different, don't they? I remember some bloke from Essex coming up to me, he's going, Shantycay, and that was the first time I'd ever heard it. He said, have you ever been to Shantycay? Shantycay? Well, I've heard of Shantycock, Shantyco. Lac du Salagou, isn't it? That's what the Frenchies call it.
They do, yeah.
We're weirdos, the English. We've got all our own pronunciations. What a lovely evening, though, dude.
Yeah, mate, it's absolutely stunning, it is, mate.
Are you having some food now?
Yeah, I'm a bit of soup now, mate.
All right. I'll let you crack on then, dude.
I know you want to do it.
Jim's just telling me not to write cold or -2 or whatever the temperature is, because he's old school, Jim is. He doesn't like pay lakes, he doesn't like anglers, he doesn't like people putting leaves on carp in the autumn. He's a proper moaning old bugger, been around too long. He's moaning at the minute that we're not catching. Well, he's not, but I've not seen him do this much mileage. He's been walking up and down going, I don't know whether we should move, Crowy.
Yeah. I'm not moaning, that's the wrong word, mate. I'm just debating, mate.
When we got here the other day, we said we was going to plot up in this swim and stay here. And now we've had a few blank days. And it's cold.
Yeah.
You want to move, don't you, dude?
Well, yeah, it's quite unusual for me, mate, to hang around on silent rods, but it is big water fishing, so, and it is cold.
It's very cold at the minute.
So,
very, very cold. There's a look at the lake on this cold morning. We've only got 3 nights left anyway. God, it looks really dark at the minute. Let me just go around the corner though, and you can see the moon is up. That looks very cold. There's the moon. Very, very cold morning today. Red sky in the morning.
you up, crowbar?
Hardcore.
Hardcore, mate. I've been out all night, just stood by the water watching for fish, and been out 6 hours from about 1 o'clock this morning to 6. Hard frost, but yeah, it can freeze around here. But the old fish spotting comes first. You got to do what you got to do, haven't you, mate?
That's what some Instagrammer would write.
It sounds good, doesn't it?
But to someone like me,
Yeah.
the life jacket's been on the boat.
Oh.
You've been in the bivvy. You've just been out in the boat. Pick the life jacket up and it's frozen.
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, it is. That is correct.
If you was an Instagrammer, you'd be making little posts about it. Look how hardcore I am. Oh God, check this out.
Mate, we are hardcore, mate.
It's cold. It's very cold.
Yeah, we're on a hardcore lake, mate. It's hardcore weather. Battered by the wind. Now we've got frost.
I'm just looking at your cheeks. You've got sunburn on your cheeks.
Yeah, well,
It has been warm, but it is very cold now. Very, very cold. My hands are freezing.
Mm-hmm.
So just waiting for that sun to come up, and then it'll be a completely different day, I bet.
So we get one, mate, today. Be nice.
Yep, definitely. Oi, oi.
Oi. Fish on, crowbar.
What was we saying just?
Yeah. Always hoping you, mate. Get his waders on.
Good lad.
Great putting waders on.
Just tell me if you need a hand, mate.
No, I'll be alright, I think, mate. Not normally a problem, it's more 'cause my back's been playing up. Don't
Yeah.
feel big, mate, if I'm honest.
It don't matter, mate. That was a proper carp take on it. I'll get you straps. Oh, yeah. All right, mate. Teamwork, bro. Teamwork. I'll get the net, mate. These bloody rocks.
Takes a bit from a back to warm up in the morning. It's only small, mate.
It don't matter, mate.
But it feels only small, you can tell, can you? But
Yeah. All right, dude.
hey. So we've done it, eh? It's
Yep.
you can move back in, you can move out and move back in. What you do with it then as well?
Yeah, you did. You definitely did. Today's the first day that we've heard carp in front of us. Jim woke up this morning and said to me, didn't you, mate, that
Yeah.
he'd heard a couple of fish out in front of us.
It might have been the same one, but in 2 bosses. That's a carp.
Yeah, that is 1,000,000% a carp. Oh, yes.
feels like one of those strong fighting commons.
I think it's a mirror.
That's a common.
Is it a common, is it? Oh, there you go.
One of those torpedo-shaped ones. Beautiful.
Yes. Awesome, mate. Well done.
Love it.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's beautiful looking fish as well, mate.
Oh, brilliant, mate.
Beautiful looking fish. Yes.
Brilliant. Well done, mate.
First of a few, eh, mate? Today, who knows?
Who knows, mate?
Or say a few, that's them being greedy. First of a couple, hopefully. How's this for a beauty? It's been, we've worked hard for this one, Si, that's for sure.
Definitely.
It's just got...
Hey, he's got a mouth like that. Them fish on Orellana, mate.
Oh,
Real
right.
big, you know, like protruding lips.
Yeah, I see it all the time on the rivers, mate. Like natural feeders for taking mussels off the stones and the branches and that.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Beauty.
That's a mega fish, that is, mate.
Beauty. Mate,
Lovely.
I just knew it was going to happen. I heard 2 fish out Bosch last night. I've not heard anything for days, so yeah. When that buzzer went and that rod tip pulled over, mate, magnificent.
That is awesome, mate. That is great.
Yeah.
Great fish to catch.
About 28 pound, I reckon, that one.
Yeah, okay.
It's a stunner. Look nice in the clear water.
Yeah, lovely.
Oh, it's going to stay there for a bit in that weed.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Si. Thanks for your help, mate. Let's hope we get another one today. I reckon we will.
John Wilson. Now, it goes without saying that when you're fishing on a big water like this, you need to upgrade your gear. And what we're going to do now is just look briefly at the pod that I'm using. This is the Lockdown Altitude pod by Avid Carp. We've looked at the Lockdown pod in one of my previous vlogs when I was fishing in England, which is a much smaller and compacted pod. But with this one, it's a lot bigger. You've got that much longer central arm in the middle, which allows you to really spread the pod out so it covers a nice broad base. And we've also got those much longer legs at the front and at the back. Everything's basically a little bit bigger. You can see that the arms where the buzzer bars sit onto, they're a little bit longer than the ones that you get in the UK. Now, it does look a little bit messy around the front because this particular pod only comes with a 3-rod setup. I don't know why that is, because most people who fish on a continent use 4 rods, and for it to accommodate 4 rods, what I've had to do is get myself a couple of 2-rod buzzer bars and screw them in to the outer threads on both the front and the back buzzer bars, and that's the reason why I've got 3 buzzer bars at the front and 3 at the back, and it does look a little bit messy, but it does allow me to use 4 rods on this venue, and it's worked an absolute treat this week. You also get these 2 guy ropes at the front and the back. We've got a longer one at the front and the longer one at the back, and believe me, you definitely need these on a water like this. Both of them are pegged down, and that's the reason why this pod has not budged all week. We've had some really strong winds thrown at us with gusts 45, 46, 47 miles an hour. We've seen some waves like it's been the North Sea, and this rod pod has not moved at all, so it's absolutely perfect. Now, ignore that little bit of tape that is around the outer buzzer on the right hand side, because that area has been crowed. I've broken one of the plastic arms that's on the Euro swinger, and I basically over threaded the buzzer without using a rubber grommet underneath it, and it's managed to snap itself, and it did it on the first day. So when I get home, I'm definitely going to be onto Fox to try and get myself a replacement for that. But other than that, it looks neat and tidy, this setup. It's absolutely lovely, and it's perfect for a venue like this. And you can also use it in England if you're fishing on the rivers or any of the bigger waters, because you've got lots of different settings. At the front, you've got 3 or 4 different settings with the legs, so you can have them a little bit more forward if you need to, or a little bit more back, and the same with the back arms as well. So all in all, it's a great piece of kit. It's called the Lockdown Altitude Pod, and it's available from all Avid Carp stockits. So for further details, take a look at it on the Avid Carp website. God, another windy day. It's just dying down now.
and got up this morning, had a look at the rods, checked everything was okay, and my landing net's missing. So I can't believe somebody's nicked it. It must have blown off into the distance because we've had some really strong winds this morning and throughout the night, and it's probably ended up at the other end of the lake. So I don't know where it is, and I've just had a bite off a fish. Had to land it in my retaining sling, which was not easy at all, but managed to get there in the end. So don't know what I'm going to do, because I've only brought one landing net for the whole trip, and Jim's got his and he's fishing a little bit further round, so we can't kind of have it in between us. He's got to have it in his boat. So what I'm going to have to do probably is just set me retaining sling up and leave it draped in the boat, but easy enough to grab hold of it and try and manoeuvre it into position somehow when I get a fish, or if I get another bite. The joys of fishing on a lake like this, it's just mad, absolutely mad. When the weather comes in, there's not a great deal you can do about it.
A short while later I was in again, right in the heart of yet another onslaught from the wind. After a spirited battle in open water, it managed to snag me on the marginal shelf, but thankfully Jim was on hand to help, and I was able to get above the fish from the boat to get it moving again. I then drifted into the bank, where I commenced battle from the shore, eventually landing my first Salagou 40-pounder in what can only be described as epic conditions.
Chunky old thing, that mate.
Like you.
What a fight as well, mate, out in the open ocean.
Absolutely.
Have a look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. What a fantastic view. And it's hard for me to explain to you now how it feels, because it's very, very atmospheric. We've got really low cloud, really low pressure, perfect big carp catching conditions, and we've heard fish moving in the area, so there's definitely carp around here. So it'd be really nice to end with a decent fish, and it does feel good for one as well. I fish these big waters quite a lot, places like Cassian, Shanty, Orient, and when you get this kind of low pressure, this really atmospheric feel to it, it does turn the carp on, it really does. And it's not too pressured at the moment, the lake. There's not a great deal of anglers on here. I had a chat this morning with a Czech Republic guy, and he said not a great deal has been caught. So he'd caught himself a 19 kilo. So there are fish coming out, but you know, it's just nice to finish with a good one in this area if we can. And it feels really good. Yesterday we could see all of those hills in the distance and the mountains, but now the clouds come in, there's this really fine drizzly rain, and it just feels good for a bite.
Absolutely mega. I am proper happy. It's been a tough, well, 10 days, 9 days we've been out here. We've got one night left. It's been a tough trip so far. Lots of wind against us, lots of tough conditions, sitting there through lots of blank and quiet hours, but amongst the quiet hours there's some lovely old carp as well. And there you go. What a brilliant way to end on the Salagou's 40-pound commons.
It's a beauty, Si. It's magnificent fish, that, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Scale perfect. Lovely colour to it, mate.
Lovely. Thank you so much for a great trip, mate. Thanks for all the info, advice, doing all the prep work, and also thanks for the invite and the lovely company, because it's been absolutely wonderful, mate.
It's a pleasure, Si, mate. Two like-minded anglers.